Oh well, we're back. We're back. That's all that matters.
No,
Um, anyway, I guess we were talking about Toylanta.
we're talking about Toylanta, and then we were like, wait, there's nobody here, and so yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
technical difficulties over, hopefully. So let's
Okay.
proceed with the fun.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Oh well. We saw William there. We saw Abby there. We saw a ton of
Yeah,
people there, which was actually a lot of fun.
yeah,
And I, let's just like it's been so weird. Why don't we just kind of get into things?
yeah.
We're gonna skip the whole intro, even though I love that thing. But the one thing that I thought was the funniest, and by the looks of it, I'm betting that Bobby's not out there watching yet. But the Bobby B scenario was very funny.
I'm messaging Bobby B on Instagram. Hey, I know you're here. We got to meet up. What's up, man? How you doing? And I just didn't know what Bobby looked like, so
Yeah,
I didn't see him Friday. Didn't see him Saturday. I probably did see him, and I just didn't know it.
right,
And
right.
I kept telling Alan, Bobby B's here somewhere. Bobby's here somewhere. We go to the swap.
Well, no,
We
it was before then. You saw on his Instagram, he
Yeah,
took a picture of the
on
back
the
of my
back of
head.
the back of our heads. Yeah, he's in the panel, and he took a picture. And he's just right behind us. And I can't remember. There was somebody else that was like 2 seats over from us, and we're like, oh, we know them too.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
just had no clue. So it's cool meeting people, but we go to the toy swap. Me and Alan, we set up early. It was supposed to start at 7:30. We got in there. The door was open. We went and set up right by the door. We got great spots. People started coming in. This guy kills it.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
oh yeah.
literally kills it at the toy swap. People's loving what he sells. Like, would you sell like three Mezco?
I think so. Yeah,
Three Mezco and a
yeah.
whole bunch of other stuff.
I
I,
more than paid for my trip, the gas, the hotel room, all the figures that I bought. Like I actually came away from the convention with
with
more
more
money than I
money.
left with.
Less toys, more money. Well,
Yeah,
less old toys. But yeah, I sold a little bit, probably 150, close to 150, $200. It was okay. But I had a lot of loose figures, and I don't think people were really looking at loose figures. They wanted stuff in box and maybe some higher end stuff, which I just didn't have that time. But we're talking to these, we're talking to these people, and we're standing there talking. Alan's talking to somebody. I'm talking with him. We're kind of side by side, and he walks away, and Alan says, "Hey, Bobby's pretty cool." And I said, "What?" I said, "That was Bobby B." And he was like, "Yeah." So I
we
just
were
like
talking to him for like 5 minutes, and
had
what was
no
funny
clue.
was I was chatting with him, but didn't realize who he was until he started talking back, and then I recognized his voice.
I was just so tired at that point that I didn't. So I went and found him, and luckily he was like standing right by the door, like maybe 10 feet away. So I
Yeah,
called him and talked to him. But yeah, very cool to meet him and several other people there. That I met a couple other podcasters that I've seen before and got to meet in person because I knew they were going to be there and I knew what they looked like because there's a face with that name. But we'll get to that here in a little bit. But uh, always one of the cool things about a con is you get in line and you start talking to people and you meet folks
yeah,
and that was cool too. So
yeah.
Moz Toy Photography, we met him. He was in line with us. We talked about all kinds of stuff. Shared. We got a bunch of people to join Action Figure Alliance this week. We hit 500 subscribers.
Big number.
Big number, big number. So on to 1,000. We exceeded 500. So uh, that was fun. But yeah, we met Moz. We were talking to him. I got a couple of his pics that we can show off later. But shout out to Moz, and we met several other people. Was just going through the
Man,
line, and
we met a ton of
yeah,
people. Remembering names for me is almost impossible,
yeah,
but I do remember faces, and everybody was super nice. Very receptive. To like everything that we were chatting about and stuff. Like just hanging out with a bunch of friends is what it felt
yeah.
like. So Dave, you absolutely need to try to make it out to something.
For real, man, do it.
IshCon would be a great show.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, we're going to be hanging out there. A ton of people are going to be showing up and hanging
Yeah,
out. And I mean, even if it's like, you wander around and you see everything in a couple hours, like just hanging out
Hang
with,
out, yeah.
with toy collectors, man. It's a good time.
Talking toys, having conversations, and just
Yep.
having fun,
Making
and
friends,
yeah,
meeting people. It's a good time. So with that being said, I think one of the things that we could segue into here would be uh, the actual pictures of the show floor that I've got ready.
yeah, yeah.
We can bust into a slideshow. So let's head on over here. All right. So this is Evil Dookie's going to be at IshCon. I think we'll smell him coming.
Yeah. Evil Dookie from Harnett County. We'll see you there, buddy.
Yeah, man. Make sure you say hey.
Yeah, for real.
That you're in the stream. We always love inflating our egos. um, but anyway, this is there was a panel room, and it kind of overlooked the exhibit hall. So I've got some pictures here of the exhibit hall from high above. So here's kind of the big one. So
Mhm.
it's not a huge convention by any stretch, but I mean, as action figure people, there's a lot to see. I mean, everything was basically action figures. There were some other toys here and there, but I
A
mean,
little bit of video game stuff
yeah,
here and
there's a
there. Some
little
bull stuff.
mishmash of some other
Yeah.
stuff sprinkled in, but I mean, what you're seeing here is vastly action figures.
Mhm.
And so there's a lot of, wandering around and kind of detailed looks that you're going to be taking at things. Um, so yeah, this is the majority of the show floor here. So basically, these two pictures kind of cover almost everything.
Yep.
Um, so you can see there's the Savage Crucible booth right below me. There is the Legions, Mythic Legions. The Four Horsemen booth with the great big dragon there, which we got some
Right.
pictures of to show later. Over here, you can see up against the wall. There's Spiro Toys. Let me, yeah, you can see my cursor there, maybe. And right beneath us here is this awesome toy department booth.
Yeah. That was
So yeah, I mean there was plenty of cool vendors out there, plenty to see and do. Over up here in the corner, I think was Shartimus.
Yep.
You can barely
Shartimus.
make him in there. Let's see.
One of the Red Rangers. I'm not familiar with all the people from uh, Power Rangers, but one of the Red Rangers was there. Shartimus. There was the TMNT 2 movie, April
Yeah.
O'Neil.
Yep.
There was Ernie Reyes Jr., Sergeant Slaughter, and somebody else. I don't remember who the other one
Well, I mean, a
was.
bunch of people were there. Pixel
Yeah.
Dan was there.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, what's his name from Geek Dad Life?
Yeah, Jay's always
Jay.
Jay's
Yeah.
Jay's
Yeah.
local, so
Yeah.
yeah, I talked to Jay for a little while. Him and
Um,
his son. He brought his son, which was cool.
yeah. Tons of people. And we actually met a few people that, were viewers. Shout out to
Yeah,
Jeff, who I was having a fun time with at the panel.
yeah.
That was kind of funny. But yeah, so this was the con floor. Not too big, but then, and actually here I've got some other pictures of, kind of looking down the various hallways and stuff. Just kind of showing you a little bit of what the experience would be like if you were there.
And that has to be Friday because during the VIP or Sunday during the VIP, because I will tell you Saturday, the line was ginormous after we
Oh yeah.
got in. We walked in because we had badges. We had VIP badges. We both got VIP, so we both got the con exclusive figure with that. And then, but there was long lines Saturday until probably about, I don't know, an hour or so in.
Yeah.
And, but
Yeah.
there was quite a bit of people there. It became,
Saturday was pretty full.
yeah,
This is actually Sunday during the VIP
right.
half hour or whatever. I came right in and kind of was like, oh, this is perfect. I'll run around and snap some pictures and stuff. Um, so yeah, this is kind of, you get a little bit of an idea. I didn't really, go into too much depth on picking up individual booths and stuff, but yeah, you can see the Sergeant Slaughter isn't even set up yet. Like I walked right in the door right at 10 a.m. or whatever it was. But the other thing that was cool about it, so had it only have been this, it would have been an okay con.
Yeah.
But there were a bunch of rooms
The
upstairs.
power up is what they called it, which
Yeah, yeah,
is
I
the
think that was the PowerCon crossover thing. Um, and yeah, so there were even some vendors upstairs. So here you're looking at Creative Beast Studio here along the wall there. Along the back, Ace from Ramen Toy had showed up,
yeah.
and next to him is the guy from Badass Reviews showing off some prototype figures that we're going to talk about in a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Mega
and
Mega
then
J Retro was right beside of Ace and
oh
doing
yeah,
his
that's
thing.
right, that's right.
Oh,
He was like actually like they were sharing a table and stuff, and had some stuff that was showing off. And then there were some people out in the hallway.
it was Ryan from Toy Generation.
Another big room where there were some different groups. I think back in the corner there was like the He-Man fan film thing.
Yep. Which
Um,
is a Kickstarter, and
yeah,
I want to see the first one now that I've seen that. Like, I want to see that.
yeah, that'd be cool.
And then our friend
Um,
James O'Brien, that was his booth. The to the right there was kind of looking away from his booth, but
yeah.
James was there from Turbines to Speed, which is a local store here. So
Yeah, and so I'm just kind of showing off some of the rooms here. There was actually a decent amount of girl toys.
a lot, a lot.
More than I've seen at most conventions for sure. And I thought that was good. I mean, definitely need more representation for both sexes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I thought that was a really cool thing. None of that was necessarily for me, but I know that my wife has a bit of a list, and so I took some pictures and sent them to her, and was like, "Hey, any of this you need, and any of that." She didn't. She's pretty specific in what she collects, but I was. It's for me. It's at least very welcome.
Yeah,
Um,
I
and
think it was a great mixture of vintage and new. There
yeah,
was a ton of vintage stuff there, but
there
there was a
was.
ton of new stuff too. So it was a
Yep.
very good mixture. Coming off our last con, which was Retro Toy Con, where everything was vintage. They had new stuff too, but like the majority of it was vintage stuff. So this one having that mixture was a lot different. So it was cool.
Yeah, yeah, it was really nice. I mean, I'm much more of a modern collector. I do buy some vintage stuff, but it's super niche. Like currently, I'm trying to find like the original Shogun Warrior diecast figures,
Mhm.
anyway from 3 up to like 5 or 6 inches they get, and I know I'm never seeing them right now.
Right.
Every once in a while I see them and they're in just absolutely horrible condition, but I did not see a single one at this convention, which was a bit of a bummer. But I found plenty of other stuff to buy. So yeah, so this was one of the cosplay groups. What's their name, Trey?
That's I
The
don't know which
girl and
that
the
one is.
guy.
The oh Simple Tricks and Nonsense.
Yeah, okay. I their banner is right here,
Yeah,
but I was kind of rolling through a little quick and managed to miss
and
that.
and I caught him in several outfits. There was a Cosmic Legions get up
Oh
they
man,
both
that was
had.
so
That
good.
was really good.
That was
I
so
didn't take
good.
pictures of it. Then they were he was dressed as Hordak and she was dressed as I don't remember. Maybe I can't remember what she was dressed as, but um I kept seeing a Hordak and he took his helmet off. I was like, oh okay. Um, but they were standing by their booth too, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
there was another cosplay group there, the Finest GI
yeah.
Joe group.
We've
So
actually got some
okay,
pics
cool.
of the cosplay that we'll go over here in a bit. But yeah, so this was their booth. This was one of the other rooms. This was more just vendors. Um, and then this one was kind of fun. These girls back in the corner, um, idolledit.com. They are hardcore like 6 scale Barbie collectors. And this whole table is like a big diorama,
Yeah,
or a bunch of dioramas, and they were having a blast.
they had RC trucks with
Yep.
driving them around with their dolls and stuff in them. The guys did. They had their husbands, I think, with them, and talking to those chicks because I was like, "This is awesome." I do this in 1/12 scale for action figures, and they, showed them our YouTube page, and they were we just clicked, and it ends up that they're from Clayton, North Carolina, which is right down the road from us. So
Yep. Yep.
we're gonna get them to come to some local events.
Yeah, they were a lot of fun. They had a lot of energy, man, and I
Yeah.
love seeing them. Like they were always messing with the dioramas. Every time I
Mhm.
went there, they were always doing poses and moving stuff around and stuff. And that was a lot of fun. I
You
thought
could
that was
tell they
pretty.
knew how to have fun with their toys.
Oh yeah, exactly. Which isn't something that you can say about everybody. But
Sure.
so that was kind of your overview of the con floor and everything that you could kind of see there. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing that, and we're going to get into some more kind of in-depth pictures. Hold on a second there, and pardon me, I have to do this on another monitor. You want to do the cosplay ones,
Yeah,
Trey?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I can
Okay,
share that.
all right. Only got a few of these, but they are some pretty quality ones. So um, here we go.
All right, so we'll
Um,
kind of go through the things, but we'll get to here. We saw Leon.
oh wait. I'm sharing. I thought I was doing that. You doing
Oh, you
that?
got him. Okay, you got him.
I only have like 6 pictures, but
Okay, yeah, let it ride.
I'll roll it on
I closed it out. We'll get back to it.
the glitch threw us off.
All right.
That is not a cosplay picture,
It is
Trent.
not a cosplay picture, but is our buddy Leon, who was at the con, and I was looking at some Valverse stuff and tapped me on my shoulder and, hey, what's up? So shout out to Leon. Uh, this is Dave from Audible Interlude podcast. That's a G.I. Joe podcast. So I met Dave. Him and his son were wandering around the con. So I introduced myself, met Dave, took a picture with him, and apparently we can't look at the camera straight. But then, kind of speaking of this is the finest, which is the Southern Command, the GI Joe cosplayers. This is their kind of their table and their flags they had set up, and they had some helmets hung up. But this is Noel, which is one of his co-hosts on the Needless Things Audible Interlude GI Joe podcast, and had them posing with some Cobra with a female Cobra commander and a Cobra trooper. And so it was great to meet him and just talk to him about. I listen to their podcast usually on like Spotify on the road or something, but this is how you can find the Needless Things YouTube channel and the Audible Interlude podcast. So give those guys a look. And this Dr. Mindbender was pretty cool. He was walking around the con and ended up meeting him and talking to him at the toy swap. His name's Michael, but he had a pretty good Dr. Mindbender cosplay. And then there was a group of Cobra Vipers, and they had a pretty good setup. So interesting to see them walking around in their Cobra Viper gear.
A lot of Joe cosplay.
Yeah, a lot of Joe cosplay at this event. I saw some others. There was two girls dressed like Ronald McDonald, which was interesting. This Snake Eyes was really good, although I did hear him talk once, which, yeah, you Snake Eyes, you don't talk.
Shut up.
and this shipwreck. So this is young shipwreck on Saturday. There was an old shipwreck on Friday who had a walker, and it was kind of funny. I
Oh, I
didn't get
didn't
a
see that.
I didn't snap a picture of him because I was in the middle of buying something, but I saw the old shipwreck and I just kind of chuckled like, all right, yeah, that's kind of funny. Uh, and then we talked about Moz. This is Moz Toy Photography. I just thought this picture was cool. Check him out.
Yeah, he was a nice guy. It was funny
Yeah.
at the swap. He was just threatening repeatedly to buy some stuff from my table, and he would walk away, and
And
then
then
he'd come
somebody come
back, and the
by.
thing that he wanted to buy was gone.
Gone.
And he did that like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. And then there's a couple pictures I took. So my toy photography for the week. But that's about all the cosplay pics I have. But
That's not cosplay.
nah, but it's my toy photography. It was there.
That's fine.
We don't have to come back to it.
It's
It's
cool. It's cool though.
thank you. I enjoyed it. It's
Yeah,
fun.
having fun with some
This
special effects there.
Somebody had asked about the barbarian, and this is him. So I
Yep.
really like that figure. What, 4 figures in one? Great setup. Yeah, really like that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty cool. All right, let's get over and talk about the Indie Toy Spotlight panel that we went to.
That was really fun.
Yeah, so this was pretty cool. Um, these are pictures from my camera, and it's on like a projection screen. So, uh, pardon the quality, but I wanted to use my pictures instead of pulling them from somebody else or something like that. But they still turned out okay. Um, so this was actually a fairly brief panel, and as you can see here, there was Fresh Monkey Fiction and Big Bad Workshop, who are kind of joined at the hip these days.
Hmm.
Grindhouse Toys was there, Spiro Toys, and Man or Monster Studios. So they all had some stuff to talk about and show off. And there, as you can see, there is a golden button there that uh, Big Bad. I forget. I think it was Big Bad Workshop showed that off on their
Yeah.
social medias. So they actually hit that button during the show, and the pre-order for the Tick went live. I was looking to see if
And
I had a picture of the Tick.
that's Mike and Bill,
Yep.
and we were talking to them quite a bit at the booth. Great guys. Enjoy talking to them. They had the con exclusive which you purchased, and Mike or Bill was checking people out for that, and then Mike was kind of manning the laptop where you could put in your
Your pre-order.
information, and a pre-order would pop up in your Big Bad Toy Store pile of loot, and when that ships, you get charged for it. So I thought that
Yeah.
was a really cool exclusive, a really cool way to do an exclusive. So
They did give you if you did that pre-order, you did
yeah,
get a little button here that I was kind of
yeah,
showing off. I think this was called for or the logo for the Phantom Core, which is
mhm,
what Declan is part of.
right,
So yeah, that was pretty cool.
yep,
Nice way of doing it, you know. So anyway, yeah, Fresh Monkey Fiction started it off. They're talking about their Long Box Heroes collection Kickstarter. So right into the Kickstarter news. So these are like 5 POA, little vintage style figures. And they're showing Wave 2 off here. And then there is a stretch goal that they did a reveal for, which is Tarzan.
nice,
Um, so they talked about speaking with and working with the Edgar Rice Burroughs Foundation or group or whatever. But so they got the license to do Tarzan, which was kind of them showing off a surprise, which was cool. And then they talked about Big Bad Workshop, which is now kind of seems to have subsumed Fresh Monkey Fiction.
yeah,
Um, and now they're doing Long Box Heroes
1/12 scale,
Prestige.
yeah,
So 1/12 scale premium figures. And yeah, so here was the Tick that they launched the pre-order for with the golden button.
and he pressed the golden button, didn't tell us what it did.
Yeah, yeah.
We had
Honestly,
the
Trey and I were like, okay, let's refresh BBTS, but
yeah,
didn't see anything come up right away. So it might have just been a couple minutes, like waiting and stuff. But yeah, so the Tick pre-orders are up and live. And he looks pretty cool. I
mhm.
pre-ordered one.
I did
That
too
was
as soon as it came up,
Yeah, that was an
sitting
easy
there.
take my money. So they got some cool pictures of him here. He comes with a tie and some different looks and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
that was pretty fun.
there's the back of Van's head.
Yeah, the back of Van's head. I did warn him that I was going to get his head in some of these shots.
Featuring the back of Van's head.
Yep. And so we're getting in the
Rocketeer.
Long Box Heroes Prestige format. We are getting a Rocketeer apparently, which is pretty cool. Be
Mhm.
interested to see how that turns out. And then
These look awesome.
these guys look great. So yeah, I mean, these things are going to fit right in with Operation Monster Force.
Hmm.
So you got your Black Phantom, your Onslaught Trooper here. I mean, this dude looks like a chungus. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the same buck as the other two.
He's
Or
got
maybe-
dual laser pistols, it looks like.
Yep, yep. He's not screwing around. And
Yeah.
then another Onslaught Trooper. Um,
Looks like a flamethrower he's got. I can't really tell.
yeah, it looks like
Yeah,
it.
it
Yeah,
does.
it is. It is. That's a flame coming off the front there.
Hmm.
So these guys look awesome. Can't wait to get these in hand. Under development, as you can see, the little sign says, but that was really cool to see. And everybody was like, yeah, those look awesome. um, And then up next is Grindhouse Toys.
Yeah.
So we had a few conversations with Chris from Grindhouse.
Yeah.
Super cool guy, really nice, down to earth, and he's got some stuff coming up that we're going to show some pictures off of that you won't want to miss. So hang out for that. And we're also going to talk a little bit about here, but we got more pictures to go over in a minute. Um, so he is launching a new Kickstarter June 13th, which is Friday the 13th,
Yep.
called World War Hell. And so Sergeant Spectre is like one of the main characters for it, and this figure is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
So it is worth mentioning that this is
1/18.
3 3/4 scale,
Yep.
but super detailed, all modern articulation, and honestly, like you wouldn't know it from looking at any of the pictures, from looking at the figure, like you wouldn't know it. Like these things look that good.
Yeah.
So he's got a chainsaw bayonet, which is like,
That's so cool.
which is really cool. Yeah. What's the Viper that has that?
Saw Viper.
Saw Viper. Yeah.
Yeah.
So pretty awesome. That's one of like the main characters from it is Sergeant Spectre. And Chris has some really cool art for this too. And so this was an early prototype that he was showing off. And so this is all, kind of like resin, printed and assembled. So yeah, there's some gaps here, but this is a super early prototype. But he said it was already, it like moved really well, came together super easy. So it's going to be really neat once this really comes out and, gets going.
Mm-hmm.
And
Packaging looks great.
the box art for these is awesome. It's kind of vintage VHS box style. And what Chris did say that he doesn't have shown off here is he actually has an artist. Didn't he say it was like one of the original G.I. Joe guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is doing a big art piece that is going to like one of the side panels. It's going to be like an adjoining piece for the whole set.
Each one of the VHSs, this
Yep.
is Necromancer. We'll get to that in a little bit, but
Yep.
it's going to have the other side be a complete assembled picture, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I think that's really slick. I'm not a 1/18th scale collector, but it looks like I'm gonna be. I mean,
With
to put
these
it
we
plainly,
are, I think. Yeah, these are so cool that I'm like,
these really are.
I've started to pick up some 1/18 scale stuff outside of G.I. Joe Vintage, and yeah, this is going to continue that because and something else we're going to talk about here a little bit later down the road is going to continue that as well. But
Yep.
yeah, these are seeing them in person was like I want every one of them.
Yeah.
He had the ghost figure from that I did a review on at the table, although it's not his, but that's an awesome figure. He had it displaying like a rocket launcher. He had a really cool rocket launcher. Everything.
Yeah, these are that ghost figure that you did the review of is very kind of vintage style, where these are very modern.
They are very
much more highly detailed. Tons of paint application.
Ghost was very O-ring.
Yeah,
like vintage G.I. Joe.
A bunch of very cool accessories. So yeah. Then
we got to talk about this guy.
Okay.
Since we're talking about Grindhouse, we got to talk about this guy.
We got more Grindhouse stuff coming. Though.
Okay.
We got tons of pictures coming.
All right.
This is just from the panel.
All right. Keep going.
All right. So AWOC was there. They didn't actually have too much to show off. I think they are still knee deep and working to try to get their stuff in production from their last Kickstarter.
Their table was slap full of really good priced figures, though.
Yeah, their figures, they actually have recently dropped the price on them permanently, unless I suppose like a goofy tariff comes through and screws things up. But nice figures, really nice people. I actually picked up this mongrel up here, which is a cool figure. Yep.
$25 for that.
$25, not bad.
And then the like kind of army builder guys that don't have all the gear, those were 18. And then I think I didn't really wasn't in the market for the big guys, but the bigger figures were very reasonably priced as well.
Yeah, they were all very reasonable, and Jason and the others at their booth were super cool, super nice with us. We had a good time with them, but they didn't really show off too much except for
That's
this Bushido Samurai plus folklore line. So these are very early. These are like 3D prints that are hand painted, like with an overpaint. So not very indicative of what they'll look like, in person in hand.
mhm.
But man, these things look awesome. So this is 1/12 scale,
Yep.
but you've got kind of like some demon samurai, kind of guys. Um, yeah, this is going to be an easy buy.
That blue Oni is really cool.
Yeah, he really is. Um, Dave, I'm right there with you. I wish that the figures were 1/12 scale for the World War Health stuff too, but they still look great, man. I guarantee you're going to be tempted.
Yeah.
At worst,
So
you're going to be tempted.
speaking of World War II figures, there was a tease from Valaverse this week, and all it said was EST 1944. And I have a theory on that, but we're
Okay.
gonna let that theory ride. I think it's airborne or
Oh,
D Day.
okay.
It's gonna be based on something, so we'll see what happens. I'm
Well,
interested to see what Bobby does with that.
interesting. Well, maybe we'll come back around to that. But yeah, that's about all they had to show off. Spiro was, just kind of, hey, this is our current stuff, and here's the Bushido line that we're looking at. And man, these things look cool.
Mm,
And based on the quality of the rest of the Spiro stuff, I'm looking forward to it.
I
Looking
am
forward to
too.
it.
I can see them really doing a whole samurai layout with a figure. It'd be
Oh yeah,
nice.
yeah. So this is Manor Monster Studios. I did not get their initial logo. They went through it pretty quick, but these things are really neat. So like, how tall are they, Trey? About 3 inches?
Yeah, they're probably about 3 inches tall. It's what is it called? It's starts with a
Glyos?
G. Glios. Yeah.
Yeah, I think these are
They're-
Glyos. But honestly, I'm not super familiar with. Apparently, Glyos is like kind of a standard, like a format for action
mhm.
figures, kind of like an open source format where anybody can make anything that fits them and stuff.
He said there was like 12 different toy lines that all click together, and it's
Yeah,
like a frame, kind of like
yeah.
what you're saying. Yeah.
So these are pretty neat. I actually picked up a couple, and this is just a new one that they were showing off. These are called Warlords of War. Is the line. He has been doing these since I think he said 2017.
Hmm.
And they're a ton of fun and come with a ton of stuff and are very reasonably priced. But this was the new figure that they were showing off, and she's actually got like articulated wings, which is pretty neat. As you can see, there's kind of multiple layers there,
So
and so they actually spread out as are being shown here. So that's really cool. I can't tell you, like, I think we've got some pictures we'll show off. These figures are a lot of fun.
they are.
And here's the articulation breakdown. So there's no like elbow joints, but you do have forearm rotation. And you have no knee joints, but you do have like calf rotation. So they're fairly posable for being as small as they are. And
Right.
really, it's just about the customization and the fun kind of quirky looks you can get out of them.
And I think these are one and done. When they do a run, they're
Yeah,
not making them anymore. So
yeah,
you either get it or you don't get it, and that kind of happens.
yep. That does seem to be the case. Yeah. So then, yeah, here's the figure kind of posed up there at the end. These are super neat. These are really neat. All right. So Bill from Big Bad Workshop, Fresh Monkey
Flash
Fiction,
this thing at us, yeah.
he flashed this thing through, and then it was time for Q&A, and I was like, "Can you show that slide again?" So he did finally pull it back up for us to see. So this is the stuff that they're currently working on. Um, so up here, I think most of us have probably seen this, and we've taken some pictures of the prototype there of I forget what this guy's
Old
name is.
Chatsworth.
Chatsworth. That's right. Yeah. You can see some of the Eagle Force stuff that they're working on, their
Yeah,
classic O-ring line. Um, there you go with the Rocketeer,
Rocketeer.
some kind of comic book stuff. This is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That looks like Mars to me.
Mars.
I wonder if that's they were talking about Edgar Rice Burroughs, and that's John Carter of Mars. I wonder if they're going to work on some John Carter stuff. That would be right up my alley. Love the sci-fi. You got some comic book and some artwork stuff here for Eagle Force.
It looks more like packaging to me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it does look like a kind of like box art. Maybe the interior
Like they did with
window.
Monster Force, where you
Yeah,
open it up
exactly,
and yeah.
exactly. Yeah, because you've got your figure numbering and stuff there, and then these guys.
Hmm.
So this is Cops and Crooks, right?
Yep.
Um, I forget what his name is, but
We hadn't heard much of that since Joe
Bulletproof.
Fest. Bulletproof, yeah. We hadn't heard much about that since Joe Fest, since they announced it there. So
Right.
good to see under development. They're working on it. So
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. That could be really cool.
yeah,
That was a lot of fun. Um, oh, Jay says, or it's as simple as a crimson moon.
true.
I think that's Mars. I want it to be Mars. All right. And then there's this chick, and I don't know what this is.
No,
Not sure. She looks kind of like she's got some kind of sci-fi armor on, so
yeah,
I wouldn't think it's like a Van Helsing character. Um, I don't know. I don't know.
could be whatever they needed to be, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, not sure. But yeah, so I think that was the extent of the indie toy panel, which was a lot of fun. It was a standing room only room.
It was.
I mean, everybody packed in there, and Jay says, "Okay, it's Mars, Alan. Yeah, it's Mars." Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. It was a brief room. That there was a little bit of Q&A, um, but overall, it was a ton of fun. Did you want to dig into? She's dressed like a stripper. Kinda,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if that's the way girls dress in the future, man, bring it.
Yeah.
um, did you just want to dig into the rest of the pictures, man?
Sure.
All right. So, blam. Here we go. Starting it right off. You know, just like I planned it. Not really. This is our boy Chris from Grindhouse Toys. And the guy's got a style to him for sure.
Yeah.
And I didn't notice this, but that's an Arashikage tattoo.
Yep. Sure is.
Yep.
A bloody Rashikage tattoo.
Yep. That's pretty cool.
It.
All right. So you can see over here, there's this necromancer thing, and it's all empty.
Mhm.
So, Trey, do you want us to tell us about that?
So at Joe Fest, Alan got Necromancer, and I
I did.
passed, and I saw it, and I was like, okay, that looks cool. Next time I'm going to get one. And we're at the show, and I walk up to the table, and I'm talking to Don, and Don's, there's another guy standing beside of me, and he's kind of, what's up? How's it going? And the guy was like, hey, I want to get this. And that guy bought the last Necromancer on the display. And I was like, really? And I told him, I was like, man, I passed through Joe Fest. I came to get one. And this guy bought the last one. And he was like, you're going to have more tomorrow, right? And he was like, no, that's the last one. We don't have it anymore. And so I instantly looked down at the table and there's one on display. And I was like, well, what about that one? And he was like, Chris was off talking to the big bad toy store guy. Oh, no, he was actually talking with Jordan with Purple Gang Gang. And so Don kind of grabs him, was like, hey, come here. You got a question for you. If, he comes back Sunday, can he buy this display of the Necromancer? And he was like, yeah, it's my last one. Yeah, man, if you come back. And then Jordan kind of stepped in. He's like, Trey's a good guy, hook him up. And so shout out to Jordan for getting him to hook me up. He's like, come back first thing Sunday morning, and I'll sell you my display Necromancer. And then Saturday, he had it. He had it in the panel, and I was like, that's my Necromancer. And so this thing is super cool, and I have kind of opened it and looked through it. It's got a lot of parts, and I'm so glad that I got the last Necromancer. I think there was 500 made.
Oh,
I
okay.
think he said 500,
And that was the
but
very last one?
that was the very last one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
That's a little bit of the preview of the packaging that I think we can expect from the World War Hell. That is hard to
Right.
say.
Yeah, I think Chris is the guy that did the custom slaughter class. I didn't, because we bought this custom slaughter kit from him
Yeah.
because we didn't get
Still haven't painted
to the
mine.
class. Still haven't painted mine either, but I will before Joe Fest, I promise.
All right. All right.
Now that I know Chris and Don a little bit better, I can be like, hey, now I painted this. I bought it from you at Joe Fest. But it was cool because I kept going back to the table. It was like, I'm coming back from my necromancer. And so those guys were really cool. We saw them at the toy swap too, and then hung out with them Sunday some when I got my necromancer. But yeah, shout out to those guys. They're awesome.
So Evil Dookie says that he did his and it turned out really well. So
nice.
That's really cool.
You have to send me pictures, man. I need to get on mine. I got it in a box over there with my Sergeant Slaughter.
We both do. I'd like to have that thing done. So this is his table, and he's showing off the figures for his upcoming Kickstarter. And let's just go down the row and look at them, shall we? So here you've got Captain Winchester, and you can see these things are 1/18 scale, but I mean, look at that deco. The detail, the deco, I mean, these things look great. Yeah, so we've got Captain Winchester there. Oops, wrong way. This guy is straight out of Operation Monster Force. This is a Horde trooper. And he's got a big old school looking bazooka and a red zombie head, which I think is awesome. Yeah, and he's definitely going for the videotape style packaging, but this is not what the packaging is going to be. It's what we showed off from the panel,
right?
That artwork there. But
if I'm right, that's a Panzerschreck.
Okay,
missile launcher. Cool. That's what that is. World War II Panzerschreck.
All right, I keep going the wrong way for some reason. All right, Colonel Malum. The guy's got no face. I mean, these things are great. I can't believe
I didn't notice the hooded head with this evil smiley face in it.
I mean, come on.
That's awesome.
Look at that. It looks like an absolute nutter. I mean,
yeah,
it's this face. It's this face there, but he's just, got a hooded version. And then he's got like a skin mask.
He stretched somebody's skin.
Yeah,
exactly.
Then he's got a Necronomicon looking thing over here.
Those are people's faces. Those are people's faces sewn together to make a book.
Yep. This is all 3 3/4 scale.
Yeah.
Next up, here we go, Sergeant Spectre, and this thing looks awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that there's actually going to be more accessories than what we're seeing here. If I'm correct, I think he said something about like some parts that are not translucent, so you can kind of do him changing. But either way, you've got the Devil's Piano is the name of his gun. And he's got, the shark teeth. Yeah, these things look awesome.
And he's got 2 45s and one of them's like chambered with empty. Cool. So that's cool.
And then is that like a flamethrower?
It looks like a flamethrower, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Awesome. All right. And then Sergeant Graves. Got some kind of Punisher looking vibes, but he's got a flaming sword.
Yeah. I mean, a Thompson submachine gun. Okay.
Yep. Thompson. He's got some brass knuckles up here. Yep.
Ooh, this looks like they come out. That would be cool. That would be a carpet monster.
Oh yeah.
Lost,
that thing would instantly get lost. But it is cool looking. Yep. And then the Harbinger as Steamboat Willie. Not exactly sure what the Harbinger is, but this thing looks killer. So Steamboat Willie is free reign at this point.
Yeah.
So no problem in doing that.
Evil Dookie says great detail. It is for 1/18 scale. This is amazing detail.
Yeah,
and soft really goods. Soft goods on 1/18. I don't see it much.
Yeah.
But
I'm Green Army Men from Hell.
Yeah.
So you've got like some zombie Green Army Men. Here he's got what kind of, the skull face. I think that's perfect for somebody's mascot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
I mean, that is almost it.
Yeah, exactly.
Some white paint on that.
Needs a mesh and a card, and it's done.
Yep.
And if you look at the other helmet, it looks like it has the mesh on it.
Oh, it sure
Zoom.
does.
Yeah.
Yep.
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 Nice.
Nice. That's cool. And then here you've got a corpse with blood spurting out of his neck hole, and some extra heads. Man, the paint on these things look fantastic. They're
Hmm.
just super detailed for being this small. Um, this was one of their early prototypes, kind of still in resin printed. Got your flipping off fingers there.
Yep.
And then here was the one that they showed off. Uh, that was another resin printed prototype. You can see their base actually looks like the logo, which is pretty
Hmm.
cool. You got your flame effect and your overlays and all that kind of stuff. And then you got these little
Taters.
decapitators, uh, little taters running around decapitating. These things were really sweet.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, tons of detail. But yeah, they're tiny. So there's your big poster. World War Hell featuring Sergeant Graves. Yeah,
These are cool.
pretty brutal artwork. Um, yeah, looking forward to it. We've already talked to Chris. We're going to have him on the show.
Oh yeah.
He's eager to kind of start getting the ball rolling. We're probably going to shoot for right around the time uh, his Kickstarter launches.
Yeah.
So it'll be a little bit, but yeah. All right, Fresh Monkey Fictions booth. So here we got some good early picks of the Crimson,
Crimson Moon.
Crim, Crimson. Can't do it.
And with
Crimson
some
Moon.
head swaps, you can make the red shadows.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And you got your hooded Cobra Commander.
Hmm.
Wrong colors, but and then
There is
this
a
guy.
blue one in the line. It's coming.
Look at
So
that.
yeah.
That's pretty awesome. So you got some zombie dude in there.
Well, you switch the white and red guy's head with that bucket head, and you have Baron Ironblood. So
Yeah, exactly. All right, and now you got your what were these guys called? The Fresh Monkeys.
the
Is that
fresh
right?
monkey, yeah.
Okay. So he's got his banana. He's got his secret suitcase full of money
Money,
and other cool stuff.
his
Um,
files.
this one's got a freaking guitar and a samurai sword. That's my kind of monkey right there,
Yeah.
man. All right. And then this is the this was like, didn't you have to order this as a pack? Was this that?
I think so. They're not showing. I think it's part of it. I think the suited guy is individual.
Oh, right.
The goon
Yeah,
guy is pretty cool. The others, there's a like a leopard print guy that comes free, but only if you
that's
order
what it
the
was.
pack.
Only if you ordered all of them.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
order all of them, and then there's your blue Cobra Commander head
Yep.
with the blue suited guy.
Got your
Everybody's going to
beard,
use
Action
those.
Force style, like
Yeah,
old school GI Joe heads.
yeah, the 12-inch GI Joes, old school Joes.
Looks like a Delta Red helmet.
That's an awesome head.
Yep.
Yeah, those
Yes.
are all yes, maybe multiples of each.
Yeah, I just did the set, but yeah, those look great too. Of course. Oops, wrong way. And here you've got like some of the Donner Party.
Hmm.
You've got another. That's a different version of Declan, right?
Yep.
And that's not even the Phantom Squad version that
No,
we
that would
pre-ordered.
be the third version of Declan in
Yeah,
the line.
yeah. Um, and then you've got some of your guys turning zombie on us. You've got this
Hmm.
kind of Vietnam trooper looking dude
Yep.
going zombie, and then the Donner Party figure here looking pretty badass.
Yeah.
That looks really cool.
The Thompson and that shotgun, and then Chatsworth and his
Chatsworth
donuts.
with some donuts. Yeah, you got all sorts of donuts there. One with a bite taken out of it.
Yeah.
Got a pretty cool looking weapon over here. This actually looks a little bit different than the weapon that came with the Kilowog.
Yeah.
That is not the same. It maybe some shared parts, but that's definitely different. And then you've got a skeleton cosmonaut or maybe a fighter pilot kind
Yeah.
of helmet looking thing there.
Dave wants to know more about the soldier skeleton behind Chatsworth. Yes, yes, we
Unfortunately, my
do.
camera decided to focus very highly on here and not so much back here. Um, but yeah, not sure what's going on with him. Uh, I think we have seen some artwork of
Mm,
this guy,
yeah,
like 2D artwork, mock up. But
comes with multiple heads, I think, so you can have multiple characters.
yeah, so I'm not sure about that helmet. But he's got some very large gun, a very large gun and a sword on him.
I
It's
like the
interesting.
skeleton, so man, I hope they do those.
Yeah. And then here you go. This is a soon to be on our hands, hopefully
Yeah,
wave.
Dr. Caligari, and I
Yep.
probably butchered that, but the eraser, the
Halloween boy.
Halloween boy, yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't wait to get these in
And I guess those
hand.
are Phantom Cord troopers in the back.
Yeah, you're right. That's what that looks like, isn't it?
And the Declan Phantom Core figure that we're gonna get has a whole bunch of accessories with it, different
Yep.
heads, different patches to go on the Phantom Core patch you see on the chest on the guy with the red beret. Cool that we're getting a red beret. I mean,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
need that for my beachhead, and actually, I think I have one, but um,
So Jay mentioned that the space zombies didn't fund.
yeah,
I figure we
unfortunately,
should touch on it real quick before we move on too much further because I will forget. Um, I fully expect that those will get produced.
yeah,
Um, they've already gone pretty far with them. They're obviously going to have to, kind of reconvene and come up with a different plan. But I am really sure that we will end up getting those in hand.
I think so too.
Whether it's going back and doing another Kickstarter, or trying to work out a deal with Big Bad Workshop or something along those lines. Um, I am rather positive that those guys are going to get something produced.
Hmm.
And I mean, hey, if we look at it, everybody kind of goes back to that, Action Force. Bobby, Vala, his first Kickstarter didn't fund.
Right?
But you know, ha- having talked to Arlen and having that was Ben that we had on the show, right?
Yep, had Ben Carson on the show. Yeah,
Yeah. I am quite certain we're going to get those at some point in time. Maybe
well,
just not as
Ben,
quickly as we'd like.
we had Adam on the show. Ben
Adam.
is
Okay.
Skeletron. Ben is Skeletron.
Ben is Skeletron and Adam from
Adam from
the Nameless Toy Company.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty confident we'll end up getting those. I think they're actually right now going to go ahead and work on getting a figure, like a production figure, produced, because one of the things that they did not have is they didn't have anything to send out to all the reviewers
Mm,
to kind of say, here, show this off. All they had were like their kind of resin printed paint masters.
right.
So they need to get some stuff that they can actually have people have in hand, and kind of show them off. Um, so Dave says, I wonder if they hadn't put them on BBTS, if they would have made a difference, since they said those wouldn't apply to the goal. So Dave, they actually kind of did apply to the goal, but what ended up happening is they made their goal much lower. So they worked with a few vendors prior to the launch of the Kickstarter and got order quantity from them, and they used that to make their funding goal, much lower. So technically, it did help their goal, rather than like hurt it. But it's weird though, the way that you know the Kickstarter can still be going and BBTS will put up pre-orders for them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, shouldn't that have to wait until the Kickstarter funds?
I
Um,
personally think you should have to go to the Kickstarter if you want to be a part of it. And at
yeah.
BBTS, okay, once it funds, then you drop that there for the people that didn't get in or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird scenario, but maybe I'm certain they'll figure something out. I certainly hope so. Arlen is awesome.
mhm,
I mean, he's the sculptor behind the whole line, and he has done so much cool stuff, and those things looked amazing. I have no doubt they would have been great figures.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure they'll figure out something for him. Apparently, there are also some pretty good musicians too. So I think that any of the backers are actually supposed to receive the soundtrack for free.
I saw something on the announcement that they were trying to get the backers that back the soundtrack a digital
Yeah,
a digital copy of that, so
yeah,
that they'll have something for thanks for backing.
yep,
It didn't fund, but we can
yep,
get you this, and which is cool. But I think that'll be down the road. It will. I think it will fund.
yeah. All right. So here you've got this is the test shot that if you're following Big Bad Workshop, you'll have a chance to win here. I think in about a month is what they said.
Yep. Bill said go follow all their social medias. You can click that QR code right there on the screen under test shot.
Yep.
Go follow Big Bad Workshop on their social media, and there will be a chance to win this test shot.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'm gonna try to get that thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is the Atlas figure, which is interesting. So
Mhm.
the backstory on this one is, and man, I realize we've still got a ton more pictures to go through. So
Yeah.
I'll zoom through this kind of quickly here. But this was a failed Kickstarter that they ended up like, no, actually, it wasn't failed. What happened was the Kickstarter delivered and the figures like fell apart in people's hands.
Disintegrated in your hand is what
Yeah.
Mike said, and they got a hold of the files and they made it better, and
Yep.
it looks great. This is
It's
just a
big.
sample, but yeah, it's
It is
huge.
gigantic. This is like Meditoy's orc size,
Hmm.
like basically kind of like 1/10 scale. But pretty cool. I mean, it's a little bit dated in terms of showing the pins and stuff,
Right.
but I mean, it's going to be a nice buck.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then we cruise on over to the Savage Crucible booth. You know, they do not know when the dwarves are going to come. In case you guys haven't been keeping up with the Savage Crucible guys, you really should. It's an awesome
Yeah.
company, and they're putting out some badass figures. Um, they are putting out a ton of stuff, and they're still working, trying to figure out when the dwarves are going to get produced. But this guy here is part of their very next wave, which should be hitting this summer. So wave 2 from the Savage Crucible Kickstarter is the Barbarian wave, which has your like humanoid character or human characters.
Hmm.
And I can't wait. I think I did 2 all-ins on this, something like that. Anyway,
I bought
um,
3 of these. I bought 3 Savage Crucible figures at the show, which
yeah,
is I've been eyeing Como for a long time, and I finally just decided, okay, get it. And
Como's a great figure, and you can do like I did and take a Como and like swap him around with Valaverse
yeah,
parts. Get your Lizard Man operative.
yeah,
Pretty fun. Um, okay, so moving through here a little bit. So this guy is also part of the Barbarian Wave, and what you're seeing them stand on is actually a new product that they're going to be coming out with. So these are some new bases that they're going to launch, and they're going to have rats, as you can see over here in the corner. And when it zooms
Do you
out,
have the one where they were 4 clicked together and they were like,
yeah, I'm sure I do.
okay,
Um, they're going to have some rats. They're going to have some skulls. They're going to have some chains. And then they also have this pile of skulls here,
that's cool.
which you can put some weapons in, which is pretty slick. And by the way, this dude looks badass.
Mhm.
It's a cool action shot. And then you've got your death dealer from behind and your death dealer from in front. Looks like an awesome figure. Again, you've got Elric. All these guys are due fairly soon. You've got all your accessories for the fishmen. This is wave 3. So you can see that they are coming along nicely. And these things look badass.
Yeah.
I'm going to have an army of
The
fishmen.
the translucent one is really cool. That one.
I never would have thought I was going to say I'd have an army of fishmen. But yeah, they're showing off. This is Savage Crucible, Dookie. Feels weird calling somebody Dookie. But yeah, this is Savage Crucible. So Harbinger Studios. This is the Savage Crucible line. This is all from them. And these are, showing off some of their accessories. So they have accessory packs and things like that. So you can do a ton of customization with these guys. Um, there's another dwarf, which we will get. We just don't know when. Oh yeah, and
Komodo
the
dragon.
bases actually come with this Komodo dragon, which is
Every one of them.
I don't know if it's every one of them or maybe it's just the 4 pack.
Okay,
I think maybe the 4 pack gets you the Komodo dragon.
I'll have a Komodo dragon.
Yeah, and it's articulated. I think
Legs
it's like
only, not head or jaw.
basic articulation here.
Yeah.
So just a few points of articulation. Yeah, so here's another shot of the base with the chains on it. You
That's
can use
cool.
it as cuffs, and they're kind of in this shape to where you can put them together, and kind of make a octagon. There's another shot of the pile of skulls. All right, jumping on. I thought I had a shot of the 4 pack together, but I guess not. But jumping on over to Brutal Realm, they had a lot of stuff on display. They are getting ever closer to starting to ship. Wave one, or their initial shipment, is going to be their male barbarians. The females are going to be second. But you can see them here. They're showing off some of they've got them kind of leaning because these are like early resin prototypes, but showing off their size against some different toy lines. And these things look great. The Brutal Realm guys, their Kickstarter absolutely killed it. I love all the accessories. I mean, I don't know, man. I think this guy is a fan favorite, but then I look at all the others and I'm like, that's a fan favorite too, at least for me. So continuing to go through, yeah, I think I tried to get the vast majority of them pictured, and they do. They look badass. All right.
Oh yeah.
You want to talk about this stuff?
Take my freaking money, man. I got me one.
Yes, he did. No armor yet. The armor
No,
hasn't come
no
out yet.
armor, but this is what the armor goes on. So you see these armor kits. They're beast of the Mesozoics and creative. What is it? Creative
Creative Beast
Beast Studio.
Studios.
This is the armor's part of Creative Beast Studios. The dinosaurs are beasts of the Mesozoic, and you put them together, and you have this Dino Rider esque setup, and that is actually the figure I believe, no, or similar to the figure that I have. And I probably have his tail twisted around wrong, but yeah, cool looking. This is like the first dinosaur that I've ever really had, and this is technically a 1/6 scale figure.
Yeah.
So, but it's cool. I just opened it before the stream. I like it.
I've got a couple of their figures, and they are pretty nice. So it's hard to get the best idea from these pictures because you're not seeing them in 3D space.
Mm-hmm.
But what's cool about these armor sets is so the armor goes on the dinosaurs and makes them very kind of Dino Rider-esque, as you can see. So this little guy over here that we had showed. But what you're seeing here is the armor sets can then combine to become like its own separate thing, like a spaceship, or I think there's one that kind of looks like a piece of skeleton armor or something. But
That
yeah,
one's cool.
so this is one of the more finished looking ones that they have.
Notice the saddle.
There is a saddle, yeah. So they've got a line of some 1/18 scale figures that can double as riders for these. But I think it's so cool that you can have the dinosaur by itself. You can have the armor by itself as a thing all on its own, or then you can combine them, and then you can put the rider dude on them, and you just tons of options. So here is one of the 1/18 scale figures, and I think this looks great. The orange and the yellow on him is very striking. Plenty of cool detail in the armor. Here's another example of the armor kind of combining to make, another type of vehicle.
And if you go on a website, the ones that they have, it'll tell you what dinosaur they go with, so you know which one to buy.
Yeah. So they just completed their Kickstarter a while back. I say just completed it. They have completed their Kickstarter, but you can still go and pre-order the non-Kickstarter exclusive ones. So there you go. So this armor, what you're seeing here in unpainted like grayscale, turns into this.
Yeah.
So this is it wrapped around, the monster or the monster, the dinosaur.
This figure.
Yeah, that figure.
I think it's
Which
this figure.
that is slick.
It is.
That is slick. And
That's
here's like a Smilodon with a armor pack on him, looking pretty badass. Here is the rider that would go with that set.
mm-hmm.
Here's another rider figure that they have. Again, these are 1/18th scale.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Kickstarter exclusive set, which apparently you cannot get anymore. You cannot get in this color, but the green one is the same. It's just a different colorway. And here they are actually going to make some 1/12 scale figures.
Yeah.
So this is the same figure as this, sized up to 1/12 scale. This dude right here in the middle is an all new sculpt. So he does not exist in 1/18th scale. And then this guy is the guy that we showed you first.
With his helmet to the side. Yep.
Yep. So he's got his helmet over there, which, can go over his head. You see his swords that he had kind of on his shin guards earlier are there on his back. So yeah, man, this company is actually covering quite a few different scales.
Yeah.
Mostly because, dinosaurs would be massive in, 1/12 scale or 1/6 scale. So they do have some stuff of varying scales and they look great. So, okay, we got to keep pushing on. More pictures. Here we've got From the Realm. So Badass Reviews is working on his own line of toys. And they are called From the Realm. And they are kind of, out of the shadows, the dark side of, some mythologies. He's starting it off with vampires. So I believe he was saying that the casket is maybe a stretch goal, but you are seeing, one of the figures there.
They had Dracula with soft goods.
Soft goods being done by our friends over at Strupp Family Crafts.
Right.
So they delivered, Brenda actually brought the soft goods over Saturday morning. So we got to see those. There's the logo. We're actually already talking to them and they're going to be on the show, talking about their launch of the Kickstarter, which is going to happen in May.
And these will pair great with Monster Force. We got Dracula. We got, these are going to work perfect with that. And
so you got Brenda had done the poofy shirt.
See, I don't know that I went back and saw that. So that's cool to see. I hadn't seen
that there on Friday. She brought it Saturday morning for them to show it off. But you can see that, they've got another kind of vampire back in the back here with draped wings, but they are going to have like an open wing version. You got a big kind of demon-y dude over here.
Demon bat. Yeah.
Yeah. So these things look great. I know I've been gushing most of this stream on stuff, but I was very excited about everything we saw.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to have them on the show, talk about their Kickstarter and, see that get underway. Here they were showing, the parts of the figure. They're really well articulated. And I thought they looked really cool.
The Misery Machine.
Ace was right next door with Mega J Retro. They had a small table and they were showing off some of their early bits. And the paint on this dude is so striking. I already bought 2 vans, but man, I really kind of want this. Yeah. Yeah. I got my shipping notice.
Came in the mail yesterday, and the 18 version is. I have a shipping notice, but it hasn't moved from China yet. So,
okay, yeah.
I did something dumb. I bought one, and I was like, I gotta have the other one. I bought the other one. So.
Well, that's probably why you got that one first. I bought mine both at the same time.
Yeah,
so I think they're actually coming together.
I paid extra in shipping because I'm an idiot.
Yeah. All right. So here is the talk of the town, talk of the community. I'm going to be honest. My opinion changed, or should I say elevated, when I saw this in person. First off, the scale, they've shown some pictures of the dragon next to like the his tank and some of the other stuff. it is still so much bigger than you think.
Hey, William, you still here? There's you and your wife.
Oh yeah,
William, right there. Yeah,
that's
William
funny.
Gold.
Um, but it's so gorgeous. It is slathered in paint. It looks fantastic. Man, I haven't backed it yet. I'm really waiting for. I would have much rather it a different color. Green is just not my bag. But I'll be honest, seeing it in person, I am still super tempted. And the fact that I made as much money as I did at the show instead of spending money has me, giving even more thought to
You
it.
got that dragon money, so yeah.
Yep. Um,
Jeremy was standing there. We were talking to him, and he had that head sculpt out and showing it to us, and that
it's as
was
big as
really
his
cool.
hand.
Yeah, it's gigantic. And those two, all the figures that are with it look really cool. It's a space issue for me. It's really cool. I mean, I like Mythic Legion stuff. I'm not gonna get it. I'm not gonna back it. It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
Because at some point I'll have a flag, and this is flag size, so it's gonna have to happen one day. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think this is a successful. It's been backed. It's
Yep.
things are. It's been funded.
They've reached some of their stretch goals.
It looks really cool, and there's plenty enough people that I know they're going to get one, and I can just go check theirs out. And
Yeah.
especially if you get one, I'm just going to be like, "Hey, let me come see the dragon."
Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually talking myself into it as I sit here and look at it.
Well, like you said, if the wife can have a hippo skull, you can have a dragon.
Exactly. All right. So now we get in a little bit more kind of general pictures. You can see the whole setup. The dragon on the flag would be badass.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah. So this is the Savage Crucible table. Here's the Spiro toys.
Jason.
Yep, grinning. I'm sure they had a long show. This is actually pretty nice. I didn't get a picture of the guy, and I didn't actually get a chance to talk to him. But this dude had some really cool diorama stuff that he's was working on. And next show, I will get out his card and show that off.
Yeah.
But Collegiate Legends, I am going to make a Billy Madison figure. It's going to happen. These things look great. It's all the same buck, but with just different paint jobs.
Not a Billy Madison, a Bobby Boucher.
Bobby Boucher. Jesus Christ. Thank you. Bobby Boucher.
They're not playing golf, man. Come on.
Okay,
there is a Billy Madison 2 coming, like the movie.
What's that?
There is a Billy Madison 2 coming.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Happy Gilmore 2. Sorry.
So I had to take a picture of this. So you've got an AFA 85 plus vintage Snake Eyes for $11,000.
$11,000.
Holy shit!
Yeah, crispy clean in the acrylic, graded.
Yep.
That to me, I think that's the most expensive thing I saw there. Minus,
I'm sure.
I don't know. Do you have a picture of the sail barge?
I do.
Yeah,
it's coming right up here. So who knows how much the sail barge is worth? I'm betting it's not $11,000.
Yeah, true.
So somebody graded their sail barge. They got a 9.0, and this whole thing is encased in acrylic, and a part of me like hurts. Like this should be out, like this needs to be on display.
You'll never display it. It might never come out of the case. When the ring falls apart, you're out $10,900. Doogie is right. On that Snake Eyes, when the O-ring falls apart, yeah, you're really out.
Probably, yeah. I mean, that's definitely a thing that happens,
But if it's graded, I don't know. It was graded at that, but then the O-ring falls off. Yeah.
I mean, it is sealed, so. I don't know. I'm sure that, over time it still would even dry out, but it's going to hold up for a long time.
Yeah.
Because of it being sealed. Here's just another few kind of random shots. So I wanted to get the Brutal Realm table. They had some cool kind of mock-ups, of like the shield. As you can see there was a axe on the other side. We did talk to these guys, Odd Frog Entertainment. They're the guys behind the Bandito, which is currently up, I think, for pre-order.
Mm-hmm.
They're now working with David Vonner, and so I have every faith that they're going to get these things delivered,
Yep.
which is
Got to
pretty
meet
cool.
David at the show. Really nice guy.
Yep.
Loves to talk toys. And this vehicle to the left is pretty dang cool. Even though it was 3D printed, it wasn't
Yeah.
even close to being anything that would be usable. But they kept telling us some of the features they're going to have, and this thing holds a ton of figures. It had two in the front, two in the back, and then like two behind that, and then there was a far back where like a truck bed almost.
Yep.
And yeah, that if they make that happen, that's going to be a massively cool vehicle. It's going to be huge, but I'm interested to see what it's about. I think they had the green Bandito covered up because it got some scratches on it in transit,
Yeah,
maybe.
it got a little bit damaged, but so they tried to kind of make it look like
Yeah,
maybe it was getting stolen or something. But it was neat. But yeah, they were interesting to talk to. They've got some big ideas, so we might end up having them on the show at some point. Maybe about the time they start to kind of have some of this stuff get ready to ship out or something along those lines. It's all about timing, right?
yep.
More of the Brutal Realm table. Like I said, they had some cool dios and stuff. Wanted to show that off. Okay, here we go. This is Manor Monsters stuff. So these are the little goofy 3-inch tall figures. I think these must be some older, some custom ones that he had done. But this is the picture that I
That's
wanted to show
sick.
off. So you've got your like miniature stake mountain with all of these little Glyos dudes from these are Warlords of War figures, I think is the line name.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're all fall under that, but man, these are so much fun.
The only one he had was the Roboto one.
Yeah.
And that was the only one he had on the peg. So, like you said, this is a line where they make it, and when it sells out, it's gone.
Yep.
You're not getting it. You're gonna have to buy it third party from somebody else on eBay or something. But
Yep.
yeah, this. You see the cases in the back. There was an absolute ton of cool stuff in there that I would have bought multiples of.
Oh yeah.
There's GI Joe, and
Yeah.
the only GI Joe he had was a bat. And Alan's like, "Come here, man! You gotta see this cool bat." And we're talking to the guy, and I reached over there and grabbed a bat. And Alan said, "Do you have any more bats?" He's like, "No, that was the last one." Then he was like, "Dude, what'd you do to me?" And I was like, "I just picked the bat up, man."
He
And
was nice.
I kind of knew.
Yep. I ended up getting the bat. I've got this cool like snake head on him,
Yeah, that's awesome.
which looks really cool. And yeah, these are neat figures. Okay.
Speaking
Yeah.
of bats, though, I got to show you off this.
Oh yeah. Oh, you put
Alan,
it in there.
I put it in there.
Yep.
I have plenty of bats, but Alan 3D printed this. It even has Bats for Dummies as a book. It's pretty cool. And yeah, I got one of these. He had some extras for sale, but hit him up. He might print you one.
Yeah, if you're interested. So Ace's table, Mega J Retros table. This was the guy who had all those
guy, yeah.
dioramas.
Bama Freed or something like that. Yeah.
Bama Freed. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. This guy, man, he obviously he had a whole second tier of dioramas and sold them all.
So I was looking at his Instagram. He had 71 dioramas he came to the show with. And he showed a picture. This was Sunday morning before, right there at kind of the beginning of the third day. And at the end of the day, he had nothing left. They were all sold. He had, at the time we were standing there, I think he only had 3 that weren't sold, and those sold throughout the day. So this guy took 71 dios to the show, sold every one of them. And he said next year he's coming with 150.
Yep. That's awesome. We got to get Jimmy out. We got to get him set up and do some stuff like that. But these look really nice. They were all reasonably priced. The paint on them looks really good.
I like how he had the translucent paper behind with the trees. You can shine light through them. That I've not really seen a whole lot of people do that, so that's a pretty cool idea.
Yep.
All his work looked really good.
So I didn't get to talk to the guy who these were, but these things are massive. So you don't get the scale from the picture, except if you think that this is like an 8 foot long table.
Yeah. And the
Probably what
bins
about?
below are pretty big. That's a
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think this is about maybe 6 feet deep, something like that. So like these He-Man figures are like 24 inches tall.
Yeah.
And you've got this Castle Grayskull figure, which is like 5 feet tall or something. I don't know. They're really
It
big.
is big.
Uh, so yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. Wanted to take a picture, kind of show off some of these big old vehicles and everything. Um, yeah, and then we got some more 1/18 scale kind of knockoff, different style. You got a Batman bat.
I
um,
actually had that red laser. I bought that.
oh, you did?
Yeah, I bought that, and I bought the Buzz Lightyear.
Oh, that's cool.
So I was actually talking to that guy. He is also the guy that puts on Retro Toy Con with Ryan. So
Oh,
he's
okay.
the other guy
Okay.
kind of behind that. So
That's cool. And here I did get a few pictures of all the dioramas that the I Dolled It girls put together. I mean, there's a ton of stuff. Like they were just having so much damn fun.
there's some dedication there.
Yeah,
And
you can see the RC cars.
yeah,
They had a few for sale over here. Um, yeah, I mean, just a ton of stuff, man. They were having a lot of fun. And here you've got you already showed these guys off,
yeah,
the
finest.
finest group. And that is it, man. We managed to do it right on time.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do new hotness next week, man,
Oh, dude, we are. We are.
because I got a ton of it behind me.
I know you do, and I got a lot too that I want to show off and talk about. But
I,
you know
I'm
what?
I set it up.
I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna get one in.
Oh, okay, that exclusive.
My Shield of Dazara or whatever it's called. Yeah, he's awesome.
Come
He's
with the
awesome.
figure because I haven't opened mine yet.
What's that?
Does the cape come with the figure? I
Yes.
haven't opened mine yet. Okay,
Yeah,
awesome,
it's in there.
very
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
Uh,
So anyway, yeah, we're gonna have to do a whole bunch of new hotness next week.
all right, before we go,
Okay.
I got to show the disc cam.
Bang.
That's the haul.
All right. We got to just quick on and off because
Not this, but yeah.
we can't show it all. We can't
Can't show it all.
spoil everybody. Well, dude, I was worried we weren't going to get through that. Part of me was like, oh, we're going to get through it and we're not going to have enough stuff. And then,
Yeah,
but yeah, no, that was fun. It was a lot of fun. The swap on Saturday night was just wild.
yeah,
Seriously, I found my people apparently, because my table just like emptied out,
yeah.
which was, shocking for me. I did not expect, to do what I did there. So next year, going to be taken back and going to do the same thing for
Yeah.
Joe Lanta and Joe Fest. And
Right.
I don't know if they're going to do a lobby swap at IshCon, but
There's a lobby swap at IshCon. Yep.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then Retro Toy Con, there'll be the room swap thing going on. They did room swaps at this one, but we didn't participate. We were just too tired. We've been at the lobby swap all.
Yeah, I think the room swaps were kind of going on at the same time as the lobby
Yeah.
swaps. So, I really was selling so much that I wasn't really too, worried about getting out there and heading to all the rooms.
And I was too exhausted to go look at rooms.
Yeah, exhausted. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
If you haven't checked out my video on the tabletop with my Cobra display, that dropped Saturday. Go check it out. Getting got a lot of good feedback from that video, showing off the army build, and I think that's going to kind of become a series of videos for us that I'll do over time.
Yeah, that's cool.
So
That's
we'll
cool.
do a Valverse, we'll do a GI Joe, we'll probably bust out the Stormtroopers and do one of those. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, everybody, it was a fun one. Needless to say, if you can make it out to Toylanta, it was like the perfect size show. Like there
Mhm.
wasn't too much to see. There wasn't, not enough. I think both of us had a lot of fun there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't too far from us. So yeah, we're definitely going to go back.
Yep.
So it was a good time. And this episode was a good time. And I think we can call that a wrap.
Yep.
It was a lot, man. That was a lot.
On my
But
third drink.
peace out to everybody. Hey, thank you all so much
Yep.
for getting us to 500 subscribers.
Appreciate it. Really do.
We are on our way to 1,000, and we appreciate everybody. So
Share it with a friend. Let everybody know. Come hang out. We love talking about toys, and we'll see you next time.
see you next time. Take it easy, all.
Peace.
Yeah, we were on a mission, got my crew at my side. Scouring the shells, we're down for the ride. Plastic warriors all lined up tight. From the comic shop counters to the late night site. It's the thrill of the hunt, gotta make it mine. I'm out here searching, yeah, taking my time. I'll flip every aisle, don't care what it takes. For that rare chase piece, I'm raising the stakes. Action figure alliance, yeah, we're bringing the noise. Rolling deep, rolling heavy with my action toys. Collectors unite, we're breaking the chains.